Tensions are rising, the people are organizing, and all across the state of Michigan, the role of unions is once again on the front burner. This time, it's about proposed right-to-work laws, destined to make Michigan the 24th state in the nation to outlaw compulsory membership in unions. Current union practices compel employees in the Great Lakes state to submit a part of their paycheck toward union dues, which will be used to lobby lawmakers and negotiate for wages and benefits. But where do these right-to-work laws come from? The history of right-to-work begins in the heyday of the Progressive Era, overseen by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, elected in 1932 to save the nation from the deepest scorns of the Great Depression. Pressing for union power, the Congress passed the National Labor Relations Act in 1935, also known as the Wagner Act, named after bill architect New York Senator Robert Wagner, a progressive politician with strong allies in the labor movement. The highly controversial law allowed employees to freely organize and associate in order to bargain as a unit rather than individually, known as collective bargaining. It also restricted employers from discouraging or retaliating against workers who wished to unionize. As employees began to organize en masse, the law became challenged in courts across the nation, as employers remained reluctant to cede to union control.
If you don't recognize our union, we'll complain to the National Labor Relations Board, and they'll prosecute you. All right.
In a series of 5-4 decisions, the Supreme Court upholds the Wagner Act, and broad New Deal legislation becomes constitutional by the deciding vote of a single justice.
At issue was their ability to compel workers to pay union dues in order to secure their employment, taking away the freedom of workers to freely associate without coercion. This was enforced by the newly created National Labor Relations Board, giving even greater control to the labor movement. Those looking to find jobs throughout the 1940s were forced to either apply to closed shops and agency shops run by the union bosses. Closed shops required workers to join the union in order to get the job, and agency shops allowed workers to get the job, but only if they promised to join the union in the future. The lead proponent of repealing these laws was Ohio Senator Robert Taft, who saw the abuses in the prior law and successfully passed a bill to curb growing union power over individual employees.
These former laws were written on sound principles to correct excessive power formerly exercised by employers. But they were so sweeping and so broadly construed that they gave no one, employer, public, or workman, any remedy whatever against the acts of union labor leaders, no matter how arbitrary and unjust those acts might be.
From 1947 onwards, the Taft-Hartley bill outlawed closed shops, as well as allowed states to adopt their own right-to-work measures. And in the year 2012, the battle brews in Michigan, where it is to become the 24th right-to-work state throughout the Union, even as union organizers and activists descend upon the Michigan Capitol, aided in part by President Barack Obama.
You know, these so-called right-to-work laws, they don't have to do with economics, they have everything to do with politics. What they're really talking about is giving you the right to work for less money.
This has been your Right to Work history lesson. For Watchdog.org, I'm Yael Ossowski.